you so much for being here with us today. Just tell us who you are and your role in the band.
I am Brenda Leeds, and my role in our band is one of the two singers, and I play rhythm guitar.
I'm Ryan. I play guitar and also write and sing.
So Old Game has been its current lineup for, I think, the last 2-ish years. So we are a 4-piece. Rock and roll is definitely the best description just because we're all over the place. Some people call us indie rock. Some people call us grunge. Some people think we're metal, which is very funny. But we get a lot of
interesting one.
yeah. We get a lot of strange genres placed on us. So rock and roll has been a really nice catch-all, I suppose. But yeah, we're really excited to be releasing our second album. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Tell us about your typical writing process, from the conception of an idea to when you're getting ready to record.
So the past couple years, Ryan and I collaborate in an interesting way. We've always written together the entire time we've been working together as musicians. So 7 years we've been working together. But the last couple years, I would say it's typically one of us will bring the other a song, and then the other is going to add to that in some way. So I know for myself, I typically have a very bare-boned guitar part, typically something just like rhythmic to keep me going. And my lyrics are usually done. The structure of the song is usually pretty much where I want it to be. And then I can take it to Ryan. He can help flesh it out. And then we take it to Josh and Eric to kind of finish and help it grow into its final form. So that's sort of what we do with my songs. His songs are a little different, and I'll let him talk about that.
Well, I think the whole thing is different. I think this EP is very different because we have our rhythm section, which we didn't have necessarily when we did our full length. It was very like bare bones, like she said. And then like half the songs we were like winging it in the studio. We hired Eric to play drums last minute on that album. So this one we like were more together. And my songs kind of came about from those guys telling us to write faster stuff.
Just tempo-wise to write faster
stuff? Yeah, they were like, hey, write
okay.
some fast songs for us. And then I just kind of like forced myself to write some lyrics.
Well, that's really interesting. Someone you hired and, a section that you weren't really even playing with that much at that point, it sounds like, really influenced that first album.
Well, after, we hired him for the album, and then he joined the band right after. And so we've been...
And you stayed on.
That was, it's been years, I think. Yeah, like 2016. Yeah. Since he joined the band. So he's definitely been a big influence. Same with Josh. So we're more like together, I think, now.
So how did, for this album, for Lunatics, how was the writing process different? You mentioned that it was, but anything really specific about that?
Yeah, I think we used to both write like a lot of poetry and then just write very basic songs around it. And this time I fleshed out whole songs on guitar with the band and then put lyrics to them.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, so it was kind of backwards.
Backwards for you. Okay.
It was painful.
So it was a challenge for you.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one of her songs we actually started writing well before Flower Moon. I think before we were even Old Game, And I was like, hey, let's put this on the back burner. And then it came back, and we love it. Yeah.
Can you say which song that is?
That's Whippick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, nice. Okay.
WPIC.
Yeah.
Well, I did listen to the album, and so I know the song that you're talking to.
Cool,
so thanks for sharing that with us.
For sure.
And it sounded really great. And there's a lot of similarities to Flower Moon, but also definitely some differences, I felt like.
I think we grew in a good way. Again, with the rhythm section, I think it helped us become what we are.
As a bassist, I can say.
Yeah.
Rhythm sections are important.
Yeah.
I guess, we've kind of talked about this, but would you say that for any song that there's really a refinement that happens once you bring the song to each other or then to the band, or more of an expansion, would you say?
I guess bouncing off of that, so with Whippick, because it was such an old song, I had been playing it on my own acoustically for, at random open mics just because I didn't know what to do with it. And we weren't sure before we got Eric and Josh how it was even going to be envisioned as a full band song. We knew it wanted to go there, but we didn't know how to do it. So I remember the first day that we played it with Eric and Josh in the practice space, and like almost coming to tears because I could finally hear and feel what the song was meant to be the entire time. And I know that Whip It couldn't be the piece that it is today without everyone's influence. Like he's been talking about, everything is really tight. Our bassist is very melodic. So Josh is always adding these like little pieces. And because Eric and Josh have worked together in previous bands, they have a really strong connection, which you can hear it throughout all of the songs on Lunatics. So I know for that one, it's definitely a song that took a long time to get where it is, but it's definitely exactly what it's supposed to be on Lunatics.
Blue, the other song, that started out with her and an acoustic guitar, and like, I want to say it was in 4/4 time, and then she kind of passed it on to me, and I wrote a second part that was in 3/4, and then we brought it to Josh and Eric, and somehow it ends up back in 4/4 at the end of it. So it's like it's gone through a long change through just all of us having our turn at it, I think.
Yeah. It's like an evolution of the song, which is really neat to be able to see, as band members, to be able to look back and see that evolution, and then to be able to talk about that.
Yeah.
And now you have your finished product.
Yeah.
So cool. You've talked about, genre-wise, rock and roll, metal. You do have a good growl, so I can see what people are talking about.
Thank you.
Grunge, all of that. I can see the different elements. But so related to that, what do you want audiences to take away from your music, whether they're listening to an album or from a live show? What do you want audiences to get from that?
So we were sort of talking about this today in prep for the interview, but a lot of our influences are sad or angry individuals, any emotional music really, and that's what we're portraying. The music, I know for me, and I think speaking for both of us, is catharsis. And I think this album in general is very cathartic for both of us. So I think anybody being able to connect emotionally with what we're saying is what I hope, and that they're able to experience maybe something new through that music.
From both albums, I can really sense that that emotional connection, and just there's an energy about it that I think is you don't always have with all music or every song or every band, but I can really sense that. You mentioned influences. Where do most of your writing, lyrically or musically, influences come from? Where do you take inspiration and influence in life?
I think for myself, my biggest influences are personal experiences. So a lot of the times I'm writing about my own emotional or spiritual journey, especially within the past few years. My daytime job is in the mental health field, so I take a lot from that. That's where WPIC came from. That song is from a job that I worked in the past. And just day-to-day interactions with other people. Like he talked about, a lot of things do start more as poetry, or me just singing along with my guitar, but I would think the biggest influences are that. And then as far as style, I really do I don't know, I flock towards female singers. Maybe that's because I identify as female myself, but I grew up on the Cranberries, and the past few years I've been obsessed with Daughter. So I don't know, anybody that's really beautiful and emotional, I'm going to be listening to.
Lyrically, I think I'm just complaining a lot.
That works.
Yeah, I don't know. Guitar-wise, I don't know. I take a lot of influence from different stuff. I think same, though. I'm just trying to write something I would want to hear. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's a good practice, is write something that you want to hear.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, well, let's talk a little more specifically then about the album. So I guess, we know we've talked about this a little bit, but give us some information about the new album, where it was recorded, when it will be released, anything like that we want people to know.
Okay.
Sounds like you.
So Lunatics was recorded at the Wilderness Recording Studio with Jay Vega. He's the same person that recorded and mixed Flower Moon. So we were very glad to be able to work with him again for Lunatics. Before we had even gone in, he was super pumped and had all these new ideas for how he was going to record us this time. So we're very glad with the results of that. Mastered by David Klug. How do you say it?
I think that's right.
Okay.
Sorry, David, if we pronounced
Yeah, sorry, David. He's tagged on Instagram, so you can find him. But he did a fantastic job. We sent it off to Atomic Bombs to be printed. And then, it'll be released at Cativo on June 22nd. Atomic Disc? Who's Atomic Bomb?
I think that's just a thing.
Oh, okay. Okay. I make up things in my head. But yeah, anything else I should say about it?
No, I think that's good. But the title is Lunatics,
Mm-hmm.
and I've heard you say that every member in the band has some connection with mental health, and with the show and the art showing that's connected to your release show, you're going to be displaying art and poetry and things like that related to mental health and the stigma that people face. So can you talk more specifically about the inspiration for Lunatics, whether it's the title or specific songs or maybe the whole kind of concept piece?
Okay. Do you want to talk first? You want me to take a stab at it?
Oh, my.
The word.
The word.
Where did the word come from? How did we choose it?
I think it's something that's been on our minds for a while. Mm-hmm. It's kind of been in the back of our heads. I think it has a lot of different meanings in general, but also to us. Lunatics, lunar. Obviously, we kind of have a moon thing. And it just kept popping up as far as how we settled on it, I guess. I feel like it was something you brought up initially, though.
I think I did. I saw some definition of the word lunatic, and I think it was while we were trying to decide what we were going to call it. And I was like, oh, yeah. It was talking about like an obsession with the moon. But then I was also thinking about just the theme throughout these 4 songs, like, reading over the lyrics and being in studio. We were still not sure while we were in studio what we were going to call it. And, I'm looking at these lyrics and I'm like, oh my gosh, like all 4 of these songs are so heavily about our depression and anxiety. Like every single song is touching on it in a very real and like honest way. So I think that just solidified it. We knew we had a theme, which we typically do, even though we don't plan it that way. And then, with our moon theme and just the fact that it kept coming up, and we decided that it was the right way to go. And it is something that we really care about, so it worked out.
You mentioned the artwork. I think you did, or I might just be thinking about the artwork. But can you talk about the artwork for Lunatics and any specific meaning that has?
The artwork was done by our friend Jess Tack. She is actually dating Eric, our drummer. She is a wonderful, amazing artist. She loves drawing bugs, which is really cute. She'll like collect these little bugs and draw the bug, and she does, I guess, what's called pointillism. So we just decided to ask her if she would be open to doing something like this, just because we have similar interests and she knows our music and we're all good friends. And she presented us with a bunch of drawings, I think at least 4 or 5, and we decided on the moon drawing with the brambles for the front, and then the inside will have the Luna moth, which of course relates to Lunatics. So we're really excited about that. She's going to be the featured artist for the art portion. She's going to have quite a few of her own pieces there, as well as the ones that are on our merchandise. And I'm just excited to see her bloom. She's very new, I think, to looking into selling her art and putting herself out there in that way. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, that's exciting. And it's I've only seen the front so far, but yeah, I really like that. I always like a good moon picture or painting.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's literally all like her with her amazing little dots. She's like, this is the best moon I have. We're going to find a way to use this. We're like, okay, perfect. So
cool. Well, which song from Lunatics do each of you feel the strongest about, or the closest connection to right now, at least?
I've been talking for a minute.
Depends how much you want to know, I guess.
Depends on how much you want to share, I guess.
I wrote a song called The Mayor of Mount Joy. It was one of the first songs I wrote after, we'll say, a very big change in my life. And it just still means a lot to me. But it's funny because, like, at the time, again, I was trying to, like, fit these words into this song. So I felt like I was, like, forcing it or faking it. And I felt like it didn't make sense at first. And now looking back, like, I guess we wrote that song like 2 years ago or something. But I feel like it makes more sense to me now than it did when I wrote it.
That's very metaphorical. It didn't fit at first, and now it does. Now it's all making sense. Yeah. I like that. It's funny, too, because the title of that song, because that happened after Flower Moon, right? Because we didn't name Mayor of Mount Joy until we were traveling.
It was based on a conversation we were in Mount Joy, talking about the mayor of Mount Joy. And I liked the ring to it. So the title has the least amount to do, I think.
With it.
Yeah, I was curious when I was listening to it. I was curious how the title connected, so now I know.
We like the bar. We were at this place called Bubes, or is it Boobies Brewery? They might call it Boobies. I don't know. It's Bubes, and it's in Lancaster, PA. Lancaster.
Right.
But it's this cool place that has the Underground Railroad went through there. There's a speakeasy in the basement, like it legit was a speakeasy. It's just a really cool venue that we were excited about. And that is where we heard about this mayor of Mount Joy. And we decided, like, oh, we have the new song. What are we going to title it? And it just sort of happened that was what we were going to call it moving forward.
But I think that's a little metaphorical, too, if you think about it. Sometimes it just all comes together.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, right. But I like that. Thank you for sharing that.
For me, I think Whippick is definitely the one that still plays on my heartstrings when I'm singing it. I think not only because it's a song I've been singing for a long time, but because of its progression over time and how it's morphed into what it is now. Like every time we play it, I feel it, especially the ending. The ending is just huge and dramatic, and we always joke that we should have like this chorus at the end, just like screaming out. But it really is like this theatrical piece. And that's how it feels. I know whenever I was first writing that song, it was after I had worked in a hospital setting for a year, and it was a very hard place to work. And that's kind of how that song lyrically came about. But even now, like as we've been writing together and what it came to be, it really is about this just connecting with someone else and being able to be sympathetic to what they're feeling, being able to connect to a very big feeling. And I just think it's amazing that the music has been able to, I don't know, I feel like the music reminds me of what I was feeling when I wrote it. like just how big it is. That's how big it felt when I was writing it. So it's pretty cool that this instrumentation is able to express what I was feeling when I originally was in that space, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, for sure. It does. Yeah. For our band, we're all instrumental. So just thinking about, instrumentation, really trying to convey an emotion or a time and a place and stuff. So I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and all the songs that I listened to, all of them on Lunatics, were really emotional. So I feel like you captured something for sure. So it seems like you captured what you were feeling when you were writing them or perfecting them. So cool. Thank you for sharing that. Let's see. You said that you recorded Lunatics with Jay. We're big fans of Jay. And I wondered how your recording process this time, or even from Flower Moon, how that affects your writing and the kind of the transmission of your story and your message. Does it change it at all, and in what ways?
Yeah, I think constantly about how I'm gonna record something versus how we play it live, what we can add that we wouldn't be able to do live. I don't know. That's something that weighs on me a lot. I think I'm always like throwing stuff at her. Yeah, I'm always the one that's like, hey, let's try this, and then sometimes they have to be like, this sucks. Don't take it out. Yeah. But I think with this album, though, we tried to get rid of a lot of that. We wanted to make it more bare bones, more like almost if we were doing it live. And oddly, it sounds like way bigger somehow. Yeah. Like I didn't add that many extra guitars this time. We steered clear of like layering the vocals as much because I like to do that a lot. But we wanted to try something different this time and see how it turned out. And I think it sounds amazing. I don't know. I think it sounds bigger somehow with doing less.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I think we have more confidence this time.
Yeah, that's a big part of
which is nice. And Jay definitely plays a big part in that. Like just,
He's the biggest part of that.
yeah, he really is. He was so supportive during Flower Moon. And I know for me, like I remember trying to record Lady Loose and like almost having a panic attack beforehand. Cause I'm like, how am I going to sing this big? Like, how do I do this? I have to amp myself up. And he was like, actually, let's calm yourself down and try it that way. So basically like being a therapist to me and helping me prepare for that song. But I feel like going into Lunatics, I wasn't as worried about how I was sounding. I was more confident that like, this is your voice. This is what people hear on stage, and this is what they're going to hear on the album. And you don't have to try to sound like something that you want to be in your head. Like I was in my head this time. I was able to be more relaxed and just confident that, you know, what I'm putting out is something that people do want to hear, and that what I'm doing is okay, and that it might be good. And so that made it much easier, like getting behind the mic and singing. And then as far as guitar, for me, even this time around, I felt more confident with that as well. Like he talked about, we're more practiced. Everything with everyone is way more tight. So it was really easy going in and just being able to lay out parts faster than last time, where I was more nervous about doing it the right way or having to do it over and over and not feeling like we needed to layer lines over and over and over.
Yeah, I think Jay really is the biggest part of all of it, though. He just like guides us through the whole thing. He really is, like you said, he ends up being our therapist. Poor Jay. Yeah. He hears like all our problems, and we don't see him that often, so they build up. You know? But yeah, he just, I don't think it would be what it is without him. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
So tell us where people can find your music, and if you want to share again about the release, you can. Any just stuff we can kind of have at the end.
Yeah. Perfect. So I'll talk a little bit first about the release, just a little more detail. So for the release, it's June 22nd. Doors are going to be at 6:30. Music and art for 7 o'clock. Music, we're really excited because we have Jess Klein in the Good Time. She's one of our openers with her band. They are now a 5-piece. So they have a fiddle, a bassist, a keyboardist, her on multiple types of guitars, and a drummer. And they are just full of energy and like good positive vibes. Even though sometimes she's singing about sad things, her music just like exudes like positive, like feel good energy. So their name is on point. And then our friend Tino is coming. He plays in a band in Ohio, in Dayton, but he also has his own solo hip-hop act. So he is bringing that to PA for the release. I'm really excited that he can join us. We have loved visiting him in Dayton and just doing show swaps back and forth. So we're going to go out there the night before our release and play and show off Lunatics, and then he's coming with us for that Saturday to play with us. And then Sykes and the New Violence, he is another one of the acts that night, and he's just been a big supporter. We've known Brian for some time now, so we were really excited that they could join our show. That way we could have a nice, diverse lineup. It's definitely like a weird genre mixing of music, but that's typically what we end up doing anyways at our big releases. It's we just want to play with our friends, and we want to play with people that are excited and happy.
People we like.
People we like, music we like. So we were pumped that all of them could join us. And then for the art piece, I think I've gathered, including myself, 20 visual artists that are doing paintings, drawings, photography, framed poems, or framed song lyrics. So those are going to be everywhere. This is downstairs Cativo. They're going to be hung all over the walls. Some of the artists are selling their pieces. Some are just there to display. There will be an art table. Stacy, I think her name's Stacy Stockdale. She is going to have ceramics for sale. And everything is around the idea of lunatics. So everyone was sent a prompt like, what does the word lunatics mean to you? And just kind of left it open for them to interpret that as they would. So we've gotten some really interesting pieces coming through, a lot of cool paintings. There's artists from New York, Texas, Chicago. Like we have friends all over that are either shipping stuff, and then obviously a lot of local support. So I would say keep your eyes on the Facebook event, because I'm going to be posting bios and introductions for all of the artists and the bands throughout the month, and just getting everybody really hyped up about the art exhibit / release. And what else were we supposed to talk about? Where can you find our music?
Yes.
Do you want me to say it?
Yes.
Okay. So Lunatics, whenever it's released, is going to be released, I think, day of. We're releasing 21st. It earlier. 21st. So it'll come out on the 21st on all platforms. So Spotify, iTunes, Bandcamp, of course, all the big places. So people will be able to buy it that day if they'd like. Or stream it. Yeah, they can stream it. And then where else can you? Those are the big places you can find it, I guess.
We have a website, oldgamemusic.com.
Yes, oldgamemusic.com is our website. So it will be placed on there. Right now, there's like a Spotify player with Flower Moon on it. So we'll make sure that Lunatics gets put up on there. Yeah, Facebook and Instagram. We're on all the things, all the social medias. So you can find us pretty much anywhere. We make sure that we're accessible to as many people as possible. And then day of the show, people will either be able to get physical copy or a download sticker for the album at the door. So $10 admission, and they will get either or with that admission.
Thank you for being willing to play an acoustic song for us today. What song are you going to be playing, and is there anything that you want to say about that song, about the meaning or anything like that?
So today's song, we're going to play Blue, an acoustic version of Blue. So this is definitely taking it back to how it was originally formed, definitely a softer version of it. But this song means a lot to me. It was written during a time that I was experiencing high levels of anxiety for like a couple months maybe, and I was having trouble managing it. So this song is definitely hitting on that, which I think anyone will be able to hear or feel on the album.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
1, 2, 3, 4. swim with you in the silver and the blue. If you could find me the one, bring to me the final piece so I can finally fall asleep. Time to come undone. I can barely breathe, you see hysteria has taken me. I'm sinking underground without a place to call my own. Tell me how I'll ever know when I've been found. There's so much noise, there's so much noise, there's so much noise, there's so much noise. I need to take a day or two, cleanse my soul, collapse into the water of the log. The siren calling out my name, the sea which you will guide the way, be the first to knock. I feel your hands around my throat, you refuse to let me go, a tale as old as time. As water fills my lungs, I feel the weight is lifted, I am healed, secrets mine, in all she shines. Noise, there's so much noise. Noise, there's so much noise.
Thank you.
That's it.